We are back with the Screen Team on today's Talk 930 KWOC. Chris Berger and Sabrina J here in the KWOC studio talking about some movies this evening. We got done talking about Back to the Future 2. Also, the movie Army of Darkness. And here in just a bit, we're going to be talking about It Follows. I want to thank our sponsors of the Screen Team, Whitworth Gift Chest Jewelers, where Walmart is next door to us. Also, Poplar Bluff Drywall and Fearless Social. Remember, you can check out the Screen Team on our website, screenteampb.com. You can also like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and YouTube as well. We have our own channel, so make sure you check that out. Sabrina, before we get to It Follows, I want to remind folks that you and the Kiwanis are taking on a big Halloween project that you guys have been doing for the past couple weeks. Tell us about the haunted house.
Well, we are really, really getting excited because we actually start building next. We're building the surprise elements into the house that is there because we like to keep things fresh.
So it's like a new experience.
I don't want to tell you exactly what we're doing, but it is going. We like to change it up. So if you've been through it already, you haven't seen this yet.
Well, that's great. That's great. It keeps it fresh. So if you were there for opening weekend, you can come back this weekend or your final weekend, which is next weekend, Halloween weekend, and you can experience some new stuff that you hadn't seen before, right?
That's right. Right.
Very cool. And how much does it cost to get into the haunted house?
It's $10 to get in. Okay. That's for grown-ups and anyone over the age of 5. We're not allowing anyone under the age of 5 in the house because it's scary. Mm-hmm.
And Halloween is your last night of doing it, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So you got it going on tonight and then next weekend as well.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And of course, it's all to benefit the Kiwanis, and you guys are trying to raise money to...
We are raising money to purchase and install toddler equipment for the park.
Very nice. That's very, very cool. Good stuff there, guys. Okay, we're getting back to the haunted attractions here on the Screen Team, and our final film we're going to review is called It Follows. This movie is a supernatural horror film directed by David Robert Mitchell. The film stars Makia Monroe. The plot follows a girl pursued by a supernatural entity after a sexual encounter. It's true, man. It was filmed in Detroit, Michigan, and It Follows debuted at the 2004 Cannes Film Festival. And this film is really, really good. It's original in some senses, but in other sense, it makes a lot of familiar nods to a lot of horror classics. Halloween to me was a very big influence to this movie. You know, just a lot of walking and creeping and stuff from our main villains and stuff like that. But It Follows is I liked it.
I can see why you would like it.
And, I liked it a lot.
I watched it in a hotel room all by myself when I watched it because I didn't get to see it in the theaters. But I was at a conference and, there I'm curled up with my pillow and I'm watching it. And next thing you know, I was staying in a train station hotel, like one of those Union Station places. Yeah. And when the trains come through, it rumbles the building. And so I'm watching it while the train's going through, my room starts to rumble. And so it kind of puts you at a little off your senses, and then
so it helped you out a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely heightened the experience of watching this movie. But at the same time, I thought it was slow.
Yes, it's a very, very dry.
The movie takes the same pace as the villain.
Yes, it does. I would agree with that. But after all of the, I don't even know what you call them, all the Paranormal Activity, Blair Witch kind of horror films that have been coming out the past 5 or 6 years, after all the remakes of Halloween and Friday the 13th and Freddy, this to me is a fresh, new idea on the horror genre, and I found it to be very original and very fresh, and I just felt it.
And that's awesome.
I felt it to be very different than everything else the studios are pushing with us with the horror genre.
Well, and I think I can agree with you on that. I think that it was nice to step away from the mockumentary style horror films.
I'm tired of those.
Though I'm tired of those too. But we also complain about the super realistic or with all of the CGI effects and everything, this has a person in it, and it's always a person. There's no distortions that have to be computer graphic. It's all real, and that part is nice, but at the same time, it's sort of, your senses are a little deadened to what's real instead of, you're kind of addicted to the CGI super stuff. And I think that it was a hard one to drop back down to the realism of it.
So is your point, are you trying to say that maybe a lot of the younger folks, the millennials out there, aren't going to find this to be very scary compared to other films? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not sure if that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But I think that might be what it is. I just know that we watch a lot of movies, and so we are desensitized.
That's true. I would say that.
To a lot of what the movie can bring to the screen and to your environment as you're watching it. Mm-hmm. And I think that depending on what type of horror movies you like, this one is more your speed.
For me, it is. I like very simplistic things. Simplistic things scare me, like The Strangers.
Right. You can't even watch that movie.
I have a hard time watching that movie. It's scary, but there's not a lot of gruesome things going on in that film. But to me, it's very realistic.
It's the realistic stuff that scares you the most.
Yes.
Where for me, I like getting out of what's real, and I like to escape the realism. For this movie, obviously, there's nothing about it other than the idea that maybe it's possible that a person could pass evil from one person to another through sex.
Yeah.
And have whatever evil entity it is following them until they get them. If it touches you, it kills you.
So basically, our main girl in this story, she has relations with a young man who she's been dating for, I guess, a couple months or so. They seem to like each other. They have relations. They have sex. And then the next day, or it was actually that same night after they had done it, he basically kidnaps her and tells her the situation, which you just got done saying, is basically this evil is spread between person to person. It's
passed on to.
Passed on person to person. And basically it's almost like an imaginary figure coming after you where nobody else can see it.
Right.
But you, unless you pass it on to somebody else.
Right.
Very interesting. I like the idea.
It's a good concept. It's just, I think it was like if you took The Ring, where people watched a movie and it would kill them.
Right.
This is
similar to that.
Yeah. It's just weird.
Yeah. I tell you what, I want folks to know that this maybe not be a scary movie, but it just doesn't make you, kind of gives you a little chills. It's not going to scare you, but it's a thriller. It
is a good thriller. You're right. And I think what creeps people out about it the most is that when you're...
Oh, you weren't going to the same place I was.
Well, for me, in real world, for instance, haunted houses, I can't stand it when someone approaches me slowly. Mm-hmm. You jump at me, I react, it's over. But if you reach out to me slowly and you come out, it draws it out. And I think that's what this movie is doing. Is it draws out. It's a different approach to scaring people.
Yeah. My point was, one of my favorite elements of this movie is the score, is the music. And I like it because it has an old mid-'80s type of feel to it. Something that you'd have heard in the Terminator or Lady Hawk or something like that. I mean, when you hear the music, it's very outdated from what you would expect today. I don't know where
it's like synthesizer music.
Very much so. And I think that's the element that makes this movie the most to me, the music is the scary component in this film more than the people who are trying to get our main
script. The script is real simple.
Right.
And the scenes are pretty simple. It's shot in a neighborhood, it's shot in a school. I mean, it's pretty decent camera work for it stays true to the kind of movie that it is.
Correct.
It doesn't have to be jerky and all over the place and dark lit and all that kind of stuff. It is as the eye would see it.
It almost looks like it was shot somewhere up the Northwest. It was very kind of foggy and hazy kind of looking to me, Anyway, I like the film. If you're a fan of horror films, I think you should at least give it a shot. But like Sabrina says, if you need all the bells and whistles, this movie isn't going to provide it for you.
No, but if you watch it alone in a hotel room all by yourself, you're probably going to need a bigger bag of popcorn.
And make sure you have a train station below the hotel room. That might help you as well.
Yeah, that helped.
Sabrina, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm excited because next week we've got a Screen Team show on Halloween night. It's the first time in quite a while, so we're very, very excited about that. We're going to have Matt Whitworth back on the show, and he's bringing his very beautiful wife, newlyweds. Jenna Whitworth will be on the show as well. We've got, I guess, a classic trio of Halloween films. Our first one is the Tim Burton film Beetlejuice, which is kind of a family. I don't want to say a horror film, but it's it's got the
It's a Halloween movie.
Yeah, I would say so. So we're going to go from that to the original Psycho.
Whoa.
We're gonna get with Hitchcock there, and then our final film is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. So I think it's going to be a very, very good Halloween show. That's next Saturday.
We go from
at 6 p.m.
from type of funny to creepy to full on weird.
Very much so. Very much
Sounds
so.
like a perfect Halloween.
Looking forward to it. And remember, you can check out the Screen Team on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and check us out on our official website, ScreenTeamPB.com. For Sabrina and Chris, we are the Screen Team on today's Talk 930 KWOC.